that it's just a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. It's all math and essentially, the science and the art of applying it all together, to make educated trades basically, or to use your edge. So again, I think what's going to end up happening is we're going to end up coming down here. We're going to put in our wave 3 somewhere in this region. Again, we'll see bounces along the way. It never just drops straight down. Well, I shouldn't say never. But we'll see bounces along the way. But look for interactions on this circle and look for interactions off of the fib retracement tool. So if we get the bounce back up over here, and it could come in, over here, that could be our reaction. It could be any of these things, but that can again come no higher. Our retracement off of the 3 wave can come no higher than the $9,800 range. So if you're in a trade here and you start getting up here, I would start getting real worried right around there and start getting ready to get out of that position, because we're likely to see lower prices. And again, that's way in the future, so a lot can happen between then. But I'm just giving us some long-term targets to look at, and I'm giving my actual opinion on what could happen here, not just some wishy-washy, could go either way type deal. So if we do come down here, we get our 3, we come up the 4, get our retracement off of it, bounce off that. We're going to come down here, see support on the, I'm sure we'll see interactions here as well. We'll probably bounce up here, come down here, bounce up here, touch that, and then come down to the 5. But I think when we hit this 0.5 and we get our interaction right here, I think when we get down to that 0.5 level, that 78, 75-ish range, somewhere around there, I think we're very likely to get the reaction and the final move. Now it is possible, because this wave is longer already than the 1-2, it's possible we could get a truncated wave 5, and that could actually come down, lower here, somewhere in here. Any of that stuff is possible. So it doesn't mean we have to just stop right here. It's very possible that we do finally come down to the 618, or in this case, we would be coming to the 618 and it gets front run right at this support line, right at that fib circle, and right before the 618. So I think that's a very, very likely target. That would give us a bounce up here, and then what I suspect would happen is, if this is in fact what I said, it's accumulation, but we just haven't put in a low enough low and we're not flagging out yet. So it's giving people the impression that the pattern is something different than it is, but it's just not done forming. So people are jumping on the bandwagon early and saying, oh, it has to be accumulation, oh, it has to be distribution. But the fact of the matter is, this is a massive pattern that's been forming over months, coming off of a multi-month bull run and increases of over 300%. So the likelihood that this is it and we just develop that pattern and we're ready to roll is extremely unlikely. Extremely unlikely. Because if it's distribution, there's no way they have unloaded enough before markdown. And if it's accumulation, there's no way that the whales have loaded up their bags before, price runs up. So that's basically our target. I think we're going to come down here, and then what's going to end up happening is, I think off of this area right here, interaction, I think that's when we're going to get the massive big boy move. The next run, I think we're going to come up here, essentially retap that 14,000 range, and then after that probably bounce down somewhere here and then off to the races. And I think we could see 20,000 real fast if we can get above there with any kind of volume. I think if we come up for a retest, it's very likely that we put in a new high. So, alright, well, I wanted to give my actual opinion in one of these videos and give people an idea what's going on. I keep seeing a lot of the same TA just recycled all over the place and no original ideas. And everybody just changes as things develop. So what I want to do is give you an idea, because I think the most effective TA is the TA that looks at things before they happen and can give you targets before they develop. Because hindsight's 20/20. I can go back and look at anything and tell you how great it is and this, that, and the other. But hindsight's 20/20. If you can look this stuff up and you can find it ahead of time, that's when the real money is made. That's when the real moves are made, and that's when the real gains are made. Alright? And if you're trying to increase your fiat stack, you want more cash, that's great. If you're trying to get more Bitcoin, that's great as well, because you can sell up in this region and you can just rebuy right here and keep doing that. I mean, it's easy stuff. Everybody knows the idea of it's easy, but the execution is where it's difficult. So what I'm trying to do is share some of my ideas, opinions, knowledge on how the execution can be performed and actual real targets. In the event that we do basically move up from here, I mean, the next target is, I mean, it's essentially this same target from back here. When we broke out from this point here, we were expecting either a big move down or a big move up. We got the move, but it got faded. We actually shorted this massive head and shoulders pattern, and that's the best trade I've had for a while. Well, right before this one, I should say. And the decent trades on the way up too. I don't want to sound completely bearish here because I'm not. But basically what I was expecting was this breakout actually to take us up to here. That was our measured move of the pattern, and we never fulfilled that. So it is possible that we do bounce up here and we finally get this target taken care of at the 236 at 11,247. So if we get it 10,000 to 11.2, I mean that's a 10% move up here. That's beautiful. If we get our move down here, I mean, even with a smaller target, that's 10%. If we get it down to here, and you just go through the whole thing, that's 19%. And if we get the real move that I'm expecting, that's 25% move. And if you take that all the way from the top here, that's a 45% pullback from the top, which is not unrealistic. It's not unrealistic to think that we could pull back 45% after running up over 300%. So I think the very, very likely situation is that we're going to at least touch the 0.5 region before we can go on, a continued run up. So if we do come down here, it's very likely we get our bounce back to the 382, and then it gets faded in this area, and then we can finally put in our actual low, and then we can move up and have a real continuation of the big boy Bitcoin bull run. So, alright, I mean, obviously not a minute, but I wanted to dive a little deeper in here, and I'm seeing a lot of the same stuff all over the place, so I wanted to put out something original. And I think as these targets start developing, because I've been watching this and trading this based on this fib circle the entire time, and the way it's been developing is literally like clockwork. So we'll see if it continues to do so. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. I think we're going to come around and interact on this circle here. I think it's going to be very clear, and then I think our final, we'll get a big move over here. The confluence on these 2 points tells me that it's very likely we touch this either coming up from the bottom here, or if we do get our move up first and back down. But I think this is our end game right here. That's where we're going to end up at. And then I think from there we'll get a nice bounce up here, and then we could find our range breakout, potentially to new highs. Or we could break down from here, and we could mark down, and it'll be very obvious if we make it into this phase and this doesn't hold, and we get our markdown down to the 786. I mean, it's definitely a possibility we could come down this far and then continue up. It is a possibility. But honestly, if we go deeper than the 618 on this move, I think it's very likely that we're coming back down here to retest all-time lows, or not all-time lows, but yearly lows. So, all right, well that's it. That's a little bit of, we'll see how this develops. I actually was watching. I saw a chart earlier, and I had clicked on it and was kind of taking a look or whatever, and I didn't realize that it was actually a chart from a year ago or whatever, and it was a guy talking about how accumulation was taking place, and it was sort of funny because I was thinking, boy, that did not age well. And this is exactly where it was. He had this all charted out and said how this was accumulation, and he had drawn in, it was like right around here, he had drawn in how it was going to break out to the upside from here. And anyone that knows anything about trading, obviously technical analysis, it was very clear that when this, especially when this massive wick up failed, when we got that final push up and they tried for the breakout and it massively failed, I mean, that was probably a forced rally to get an extremely good price on shorts. So then whoever was up here, whoever ran it up, dropped a massive, massive short, and then that short in place, and then we finally did get our dump capitulation. Which again, if you look, if you don't believe in these fib circles, the green one is from here to here. That's for this rally, and look exactly where that lines up. That massive pump lines up exactly on the fib circle. And again, you have to remember, this isn't even drawn yet. This hasn't even developed yet. We don't even know where the new low is, let alone the new high yet. So these things are eerily effective. But in the end, again, it's mathematics. It's bots, algorithms, it's all that. So it's not just luck, it's confluence for a reason. So there we have it, Bitcoin TA in about 20 minutes. I'm Crypto Trend Trader, signing off.